In 2013, Mitch Weiss decided to take a path any lesser man wouldn't dare travel. He now finds himself training to become the Midwest's most knowledgeable sports broadcaster. Focusing on Big Ten and Detroit sports teams, he decided to create a dwelling where his training would go undisturbed, a cave. More specifically, the man cave.
No girls allowed.
Mitch enlisted a team of highly sophisticated cavemen into his service to assist him in his tireless search for, well, sports stuff. When they're not sleeping, eating, or, oh yeah, they're analyzing sports as best a caveman can. You have now entered the man cave.
At 5'11", 190 pounds, Milton Marcus Lafayette O'Quinn III has the daunting task of being the president and only member of the Joey Harrington fan club. When not watching sports, he enjoys candlelit baths while listening to his favorite album, Big Willie Style. Daniel D-Mac McDonald comes in at 6'1", 200 pounds and hails from the inner city of Bloomfield Hills. He enjoys enjoyable things, sleeps when he's tired, and hopes that one day Ryan Gosling will get a tattoo of Sparty on his chest.
Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mitch.
And this is the Man Cave.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Mitch's Man Cave. I'm your host, Mitch Weiss, and I'm down here with all of the cavemen for the first time in a few weeks. We've got D-Mac, Milton, and Jason down here, and it feels good to have the whole crew back together. What's going on, guys?
Feels good to be back here on a gloomy fall day in Royal Oak, Michigan.
Uh-huh.
What's up, everybody? Same old, same old.
Might as well be winter, man. But it's good to be down here. Doesn't matter what it's like outside. We got some good stuff for you coming up, so...
As always, we'll be covering a number of topics, including the Tigers' hiring of Brad Ausmus, the Pistons, the Red Wings, and then obviously the Michigan versus Michigan State massacre that had happened on Saturday. So yeah, let's just get right into it. The Tigers hired Brad Ausmus to be their next manager, and he steps into a rare situation for a new manager, as the team is expected to compete for the World Series once again. Usually when you have new managers, you're taking over a team that stinks, but in this case, it's the exact opposite. I'm happy with the hire. As I mentioned in previous episodes, that he's the guy that I always wanted. Wow, that sounds kind of homoerotic, but we'll let that one go. I think he'll bring a youthful passion to the team, and he'll be able to relate to the players, being a recent former player himself. I know a lot of people are concerned with his lack of managing experience, and that is definitely one cause for concern. But he did manage Team Israel in the World Baseball Classic, so he's not a complete rookie, but obviously managing in the MLB is a whole different animal than managing in the World Baseball Classic. But obviously I'm thrilled with the hire. He's a former catcher, which was one of the attributes on my manager checklist. He's also a bright guy, having gone to school at Dartmouth. And I think the lack of experience isn't going to be an issue. And Mike Matheny of the St. Louis Cardinals, he's their manager, and he's a perfect example because he was an inexperienced manager, and he took them to the World Series this past year and only his second year on the job. He also, Ausmus that is, he retained Gene Lamont as bench coach and Jeff Jones as pitching coach from Leland's staff, so there will be some familiarity in the clubhouse, which I think is good. And I don't think he'll have a problem getting respect of the players because, as Dave Dombrowski said, Ausmus completely blew the front office away during his interview, and I think he'll have a similar impact on his players and on the team. Do you guys have any thoughts on the hire?
I wasn't too crazy about it when I first heard that they decided to go with Ausmus. As you said earlier, he's had limited experience. He's done a few things, but nothing really substantial in the major leagues. And I just wonder how long it's going to take the team to kind of rally around him and get comfortable with him calling the shots, with him being so young and so inexperienced. I would have liked to have seen them hire like an old skipper, just like Leland, a clone to Jim Leland.
But who though? Who like that that fits that mold that you just spoke of is out there for the taking?
Oh, I told you, my boy Ozzie Guillen, he's still out there on the radar.
You got Jason cracking up over here.
I know.
I said it the last time. It's just ridiculous and asinine.
It is.
I know you guys aren't checking for him, but he's out there. But I mean, I'm just gonna wait and see. I'm not gonna hate on the hire, but I'm not gonna praise it either.
He is young. He's 44 years old. He has a 17-year playing career though as a catcher, including 2 stints with the Tigers.
Right.
So he does have some familiarity with the organization. D-Mac, you're kind of silent over there. You got anything going on in your mind?
Yeah, I'm just kind of reading up on him now. I mean, I like just at face value. I like how he's young. I think that'll bring that'll bring a whole new aspect to his coaching style. The fact that he can relate to a lot of the players in terms of just being done playing, and then also he's been one of the hottest prospects for the manager position over the last couple of years. So why not give him a shot? I think we have in the back office, we got Jim around. We still got those, our 2 guys, the pitching and the
Bench coach.
and the bench coach hanging out. So I think it'll be good for the Tigers to get some youth in there.
Yeah. And speaking of his face, I was in class today, and our teacher used the hiring as an example for writing one of our news stories. And one of the girls goes, and he's super hot. So maybe a little bit of we'll get some female interest in the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy you always wanted, so she might have.
I guess I agree. Have to agree with her on that one.
Yeah.
So Mitch is a fan of him. That's good.
I'm a fan
for many reasons.
And he's a member of the tribe. He's the chosen peoples.
Yeah.
This is true.
And if you don't know what that means he's a Jew.
Welcome to Detroit, man. You'll fit right in.
Oh yeah. I watched the latest. This is completely off track. I don't even know what I'm getting into here. I watched the latest episode of Kenny Powers today.
Oh, Eastbound and Down?
Yeah, I've been watching all of them.
Speaking of good-looking guys.
You're right. His wife is super good looking.
Love her.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I would marry her in a second.
So when you see her boobs in the first season, in that final scene of the final episode of season 1, or was it the first episode of the second season?
I think it was the finale.
It was one of those
the first
two.
season or something.
So do you think that those are really hers? Because you don't see her face when they're shown, when the girls get shown.
I think so.
You think that those are the real deal?
Yeah.
I love to think so, and I always will, just because I love her.
Uh-huh.
But I have inside sources that said that she admitted that they were not her.
Inside source.
lovely
Are you
lumps.
going to expose your sources for us?
I can't. It's kind of a leak in the Department of Production.
You
and
got it over the wire.
You're in that HBO circle? That's tight, man.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always looking for a job, so anytime you want to do that.
But have you guys been watching this season?
Yeah,
of Eastbound and Down?
I've watched. Yeah, I've
I always
seen them all.
forget what the show's even called. I always just call it Kenny Powers.
Right.
Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
So that show that guy Young has,
Sports sesh.
Sports Sesh,
Yeah.
that is great. That's great
Kenny's
stuff.
cutting
Oh,
in.
that is so funny.
It makes me jealous. I want to be on that show.
Yeah, that's a great show. That could be the future of Mitch's Man Cave,
Yeah.
possibly. We'll have to see where it goes.
Don't set the bar too high. That's a great show.
And I will not beat you in the obstacle course race either.
Yeah,
Because
you
I
better
don't
not.
want to get pushed out of the
Otherwise,
canoe and all that.
otherwise you're fired.
Yeah.
So the Pistons are off to a 2-2 start. And they won 2 games in which they were favored, and they lost 2 games in which they were the underdog. And in their 2 wins against Washington and Boston, they played with great cohesion and shared the ball beautifully. And then in their 2 losses to Memphis and Indiana, they showed signs of inconsistency and selfish play and just stretches where they just didn't look like they were together as a unit. So as far as those inconsistencies, I think it's too early for it to be a concern. You have to remember that they have 4 new players in their rotation, 3 of which are starters right now in Brandon Knight, Chauncey, and then Josh Smith.
Brandon Jennings.
Or Brandon Jennings, I'm sorry. We traded Brandon Knight for Brandon Jennings. So it's going to take some time for them to gel, and there will definitely be some growing pains. But my expectations, as far as those are concerned, have not changed. I still expect this team to make the playoffs as a 6th seed based on their talent alone. Brandon Jennings and Josh Smith, though, to me, are going to be the keys to success or the reason for failure. In the wins, they were unselfish and they had good shot selection, played good defense. In the 2 losses, they took bad shots, especially Smith, and didn't really get others involved. So I think the key to the season is to get those guys on the same page with the rest of the team and play unselfish basketball because we have so much talent. Watching in the wins, maybe 4 or 5 passes per possession before there's an easy dunk or layup, because Smith, despite his sometimes unselfishness or selfishness, is a really good passer. Greg Monroe, we know, is a really good passer. Jennings can be a really good passer when he wants to be. So, and they have a great finisher in Smith and Drummond. So they have the pieces, and if they come together properly with the talent and the coaching of Maurice Cheeks, I think that they could definitely make that 6 seed and possibly make a run at that 5 seed. What do you guys think?
I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. 2-2 with basically a real new squad, is impressive. The loss to Memphis and OT was tough.
Right.
And last night they were showing flashes of coming back, in the last 5 minutes they had a 12-2 run, and they looked like they were really going to make something happen. But, exactly what you're saying, they got to start playing together and get to know each other a little bit more. But we could be in a worse position and be 0-4 like the Celtics, so.
Or 0-8 like we started last year.
Exactly, so 2-2, things are looking up out in Auburn Hills.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm ready to see what happens.
I'm excited too because that loss to Indiana last night. That's kind of expected. They're one of the top 3 teams in the league. They can challenge the Heat this year.
Yeah.
So the fact that we competed and almost beat them, kept it close at some points, was really encouraging. The only thing that I complain about is that my main man, Chauncey Billups, was not in there like the last 6 minutes of the game. I know they want to limit his minutes till about 24 minutes a game, but I'd like to see him in there at crunch time because, he is Mr. Big Shot. He can make that extra pass that gets that open jumper. He can set guys up. He can hit that open 3. So I just hope in the future they incorporate Chauncey more in the important possessions instead of leaving him on the bench.
I think he showed signs of his age last game and in the last couple games. That first game had me excited, thinking that he maybe had his youthful legs back since he missed a good portion of last season, but I think it was a mirage. I don't think he's going to be able to be counted on for more than maybe 15 minutes a game.
Ooh. I hope it's more.
Which isn't a bad thing. To have his presence there is fine. But for him to be, if you're counting on Chauncey to be more than a 15, 20-minute player, I think we're going to be in trouble.
I think we have too much talent to rely on him to be, more than
agree.
that. I think that's exactly where he needs to be. 24 minutes is nice, but I like having him in at the end of the game. I think that'd be really good because, he takes care of the ball, and he of all the passers on our team, he's one of the best passers we have, so I'd like to see him out there for the end of the game.
I didn't like the lineup that he had out there when he had Jennings, Stuckey, Smith, Monroe, and Drummond. There's not one outside shooting threat there, and it's just very easy to defend that lineup. But that's probably our best defensive lineup at the same time, so, you got to take the good with the bad, I guess.
Yeah, I think you can't count too much on Chauncey. I think they brought him in for kind of a liaison role to really get the young guys going, and also you really have to look at how they're being paid. Chauncey's the ninth highest paid athlete on the team, so you're paying those younger guys bigger bucks for a reason. So that I just don't think you count on Chauncey to play more than the 15 minutes you said.
I'm just worried that Jennings and Smith are going to take away from the development of Monroe and Drummond because those two should really be the building blocks of the franchise, much like San Antonio did with Tim Duncan and David Robinson. But they've shown, obviously we've talked about this, that they can be selfish. So that'll be a big thing for me. But I'm much happier with this team than I have been with the last 3 or 4 teams. So I'm excited for the season. I plan on getting out to a couple games. But let's switch over to the Red Wings. They bounced back from a 4-game losing streak to win 3 of their last 4, and they got a nice boost by the return of forward Darren Helm. It's been a long-anticipated return for him, and he didn't disappoint as he scored a goal in his first game back. And it'll be good, and I'm excited for his speed to be back in the lineup because, particularly on the penalty kill, he gives us an added dimension that we don't really have. We don't have Datsuk is a great penalty killer, but we don't have like that speed guy that can be a forechecker and really disrupt the other team coming out of their end. But the Wings are currently tied for first place in the Atlantic, three-way tie with 20 points. And as soon as these guys get healthy, missing Eriksson and Franzen, when those guys get back, I think we're really going to make a push for that Atlantic Division crown. Mill, what are your thoughts on the Wings?
Loving what I'm seeing so far. I think they're really going to shake things up in the East. And, yeah, I think they're going to fight for a division crown. And this team, I think they're going to put up a lot of points. Yeah, once Franzen comes back and we got Eric back, and once they start to gel, I think the 25-game mark is a good measurable to see what they're going to be come playoffs.
Yeah, that's about a third of the way through the season. So by that point, you would hope to see the identity of the team. Yeah. They really need to get Stephen Weiss going. He was the big free agent acquisition, and he hasn't really done much. Alfredsson's been great, but he's a one year and done kind of guy. They signed Weiss to a 5-year deal, and if he doesn't start producing, people are going to start questioning that move. But it's too early right now to be concerned, but it's something to pay attention to for sure. And then they waived Jordan Tutu today.
Saw that.
And he didn't really bring much except for unnecessary fights. Energy. But I think that Helm is definitely an upgrade over him. So, yeah, I'm excited for the season. Plan on getting out to the Joe as well. I keep saying I plan on getting all these games. I got to actually make it happen.
So do I.
I'm all talk right now.
What number does Tutu wear again?
I think he was 22.
Yeah, that's 2.
Oh, I get it. All right. Joke of the day.
How long were you saving that one for?
I was waiting to use it, and you guys were talking, so I had to come back with it late. But
well, we're all glad you used it. That was amazing.
Anytime, guys.
I'm sure you're probably the first person to ever use that joke too. Tutu 22. Remember Willie's bird named Tutu?
I do.
That thing was annoying. Yeah. It's kind of like Jordan Tutu.
Oh.
What are you laughing at, Jay?
You're talking about Willie's bird right now. That's what I'm laughing about.
Willie.
Yeah, Will, tweet us. You know what the hashtag is.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Will's kid.
Yeah. London.
Sorry I couldn't make it to the birthday party.
Yeah, I couldn't make it either. It was Yom Kippur, I think. It was either Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't really know. I just went to my mom's and ate some food.
Yeah, basically.
It was one of those high holiday, one of the only ones I celebrate.
Will's over here flicking us off.
I didn't make it either, but I wanted to make you guys think I did, so.
No, you're probably just mad because you didn't get any home-cooked brisket.
You just got to wait for that one holiday.
I went over to my, all right, now I'm going to leave it alone. Go ahead, Mitch.
All right. So the big event this weekend turned out to be a laugher as Michigan State rolled over Michigan 29-6 in East Lansing. And like I predicted, the game was won and lost in the matchup of Michigan's booty offensive line versus Michigan State's dominant defensive front. And that A-gap blitz was just too overwhelming for the young offensive lineman of the Wolverines. And Devin Gardner had no time to throw, and he left the game beaten and battered. I think his jersey looked like a Michigan State jersey. It was just covered in mud, same color. But I thought Michigan's offensive coordinator, Al Borges, really laid an egg because he kept running these slow action plays against a defensive scheme that was blitzing and obviously getting in the backfield in a hurry. And I just didn't understand why he kept running that shotgun play action or the run action. I just didn't get it because they're just long developing plays. It didn't really make sense to me. But the first drive I thought was great. He called quick throws to the outside to Jeremy Gallon and Devin Funchess, and they were able to make plays, and they got into field goal range. And then he strayed away from that philosophy. I don't know why. And I thought that Michigan State's offensive game plan was perfect for an inexperienced quarterback who sometimes struggles to throw touch passes. They didn't lean on him to win the game. They leaned on their run game and defense as they usually do. But when they got into third and long situations, they just dialed out quick slants, and those kind of routes take all the guesswork out for Connor Cook, and he just delivered some missiles there. So the next question for Michigan State is, can they beat Ohio State if they reach the Big Ten championship? They have a stranglehold on the Legends division, so they seem destined to to meet Ohio State in that game. I, for one, I don't think they have a chance in hell of winning. And that's not a shot at Michigan State. I just don't think that anybody in the Big Ten is up to par with Ohio State. They're by far the most balanced team in the conference. They have the best head coach. Urban Meyer has brought an SEC type of philosophy to the Big Ten, and no one has really been able to beat him. Well, no one has at all been able to beat him. He's undefeated since he took over, since his arrival in Columbus. I think the game will be close, though. I don't want to make it sound like I think Ohio State's just going to roll over Michigan State. With the Spartans' defense, they'll keep them in it, but I just don't see their offense being able to put up enough points to keep up with the Buckeyes because they have the second best defense in the conference and by far the best offense. So they just present a tremendous challenge. They have so many weapons on their offense that they can give the ball to on the outside, the inside, and I'm willing to bet that their play action in the backfield, if they run, is going to be much quicker and more efficient than Michigan was against Michigan State. So, D-Mac, you're surprisingly quiet. I'm waiting for you to chime in here.
I'm just letting you build it up, baby.
Yeah?
No, yeah. I mean, well, first of all, I'm not going to discount Minnesota. I'm not going to discount
Well, no, you can't discount anybody.
Nebraska, Northwestern. I mean, two of those teams were ranked in the top 25 preseason. Nebraska's Nebraska. If they can find a way to win any day. But I mean, if we're gonna focus on Ohio State, you got to go back and look at. They beat Iowa 34-24. They beat Northwestern 40-30. I mean, we can put up around that range, and we're known to hold people to less than 15 points. So I mean, with those two combined, any given Sunday, I'll say that all day. You can have New England play the Jets, and then the Jets win like they did this year. So you always have that. I think Michigan State is just get in the trenches and just gut it out. So I love Langford. We didn't know. I think going into the season, we thought our run game was going to be worse than our pass game, but that's definitely not the case. He put up 140 yards against Michigan last week, and
he's been a nice surprise.
He's had a couple bigger games than that. So I'm liking Connor Cook. Like you said, I think they're using him correctly. They're not you let Maxwell in the game, and he's going to try and get a 20-yard, 30-yard completion, and Connor Cook just understands how to manage a clock.
Yeah.
And our defense always keeps us in it, regardless of who we're playing. As long as our secondary doesn't give up big penalties like we did against Notre Dame, you can't count us out of any game unless we're playing Alabama. You can count us out of that one. But
I think that you could count everybody out against Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, have you heard this about Nick Saban in Texas? The rumors are swirling again. I think this is the third time this season that they've been brought up. He said he's feeling tremendous pressure after having the kind of success he's had at Alabama. And he's known to be a guy who likes to go to places and rebuild because he likes that challenge.
Sure.
And he also likes to just leave at the last second when nobody expects it after he says he's not.
Well, Spartans know that best.
And he
so
likes
the Dolphins.
and he likes money. Who doesn't? And Texas is the richest program in college football. So
you think he would make the intercollegiate jump like that?
I think so.
Wow.
Texas is the biggest, program money-wise in the NCAA. Imagine what they could do with Nick Saban as their head coach.
If there's a close second,
crazy.
It's Bama, though. I mean, that's a.
I'm gonna get to it in a second, but Forbes has Michigan's the second richest program in college football.
Sure.
I'll say that for a minute because I'm gonna go on a rant here in a minute.
If Saban went to Michigan after leaving Michigan State,
no, I don't think he's going to Michigan.
Oh my word.
No.
He might have a hit on
He's
him.
not
Come
going
on
there.
up.
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, he's not going there.
What? You guys don't like Hoke anymore?
No, I do, but I mean, come on, man. Nick Saban.
Yeah. If Nick
three
Saban's
champions.
knocking on your door, you're letting him in.
No, man. I'm keeping D'Antoni all day.
Yeah,
all day. No, man. Saban had his chance in East Lansing. We don't want that nugget.
Dude, you would take
You're calling
Nick
Saban a
in
nugget.
a second.
Yes, I am.
Man.
Anyways, what do you?
Anyways.
Let's hear this. Mitch.
This isn't even part of my rant. This is just I love the Michigan State fans who are all goo goo gaga over Mark D'Antonio, and I don't want to take anything away from him because I respect him tremendously, and I think he's a very good coach and he's a great program leader. But if a Michigan coach, say that he was coaching Michigan, if a Michigan coach over 6 years had nothing to show but 5 wins against Michigan State, 1/3 of one Big Ten championship, a Capital One and Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl victories, his ass will be fired. He'd be out.
Yeah, where were we before, and where was Michigan before?
Michigan went through probably the worst 3-year period in 50 years before Hoke got in.
Right, but I'm saying where was State before we beat Michigan 5 years in a row, where we went to Capital One, Outback. We beat Georgia in a bowl game. I mean, yeah, we lose to SEC teams in bowl games, but who doesn't? We played Alabama 3 years ago in a bowl game after they lost 2 regular season games. So, I mean, D'Antonio, is he bad at recruiting? Absolutely. I mean, we haven't found a sound offense until Kirk came in. I mean, if we found a better quarterback than Kirk, who knows what would happen?
All I'm saying is you guys are ready to start designing statues for this guy. And yes, you have bragging rights in the state, and I'll definitely concede that to you. You're the dominant program right now in the state of Michigan.
That's right.
But you're talking about your program like it's some type of world beater, and it really makes you guys sound like idiots.
All I'm saying is that we are thankful for what D'Antonio does. We're not greedy assholes like Wolverine people who expect a national championship.
Yeah, but the expectations kind of make the program.
Right. So every year, if we expect more, that's just how you build.
But you haven't gotten more.
What are we this year? We're 8-1 with a second-rate quarterback.
What were you last year?
Yeah, who was our quarterback?
Well, I'm just saying the expectations for the programs are just worlds apart.
Absolutely, but where was the foundation that was built on that? We were nobody before D'Antonio came in. Now 5 out of 6 last years we beat Michigan. I mean,
yeah, but you're 5 out of the last 6 years beating Michigan. I'm not taking it away from you, but is that really like this huge accomplishment?
No, but like I said, I'll say it again. Where were we before?
Yeah, no, I agree with
that.
Where
are we headed in the right direction?
I think that's the only argument you can make against it.
Right.
But
look at what he's done with the defense. Don't just look at the offense.
No, I think he's done a tremendous job considering where the program was before.
Look at Le'Veon Bell, man, in the pros starting.
That's the offense, though. I don't think he has much of a hand in the offense. He's a defensive-minded guy.
Well, clearly, I mean, he obviously need to improve in certain parts of the program, but I like what he's done, and I hope he's a lifer. If we have him around in 20 years, I mean, how long did it take Izzo to build a program? 4 to 5 years.
Oh yeah.
So,
but I don't think that D'Antonio's going anywhere. I think Narduzzi might jump because he's got to be getting calls for a head coaching position somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, no, we definitely have a few pieces of the puzzle left to put in place.
Yeah, but I mean, the future is definitely bright. You had your little hiccup last year, but before that, you had 2 10-plus win seasons in a row.
Right. And you got to remember, we got gypped out of that BCS game against
the one that Michigan got into. Virginia Tech, yeah.
So, but that's the year we beat Georgia. That's I was more excited to see us play Georgia, and then the way we won, 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
That was just an amazing game.
Let me ask you something. This brings up a good point. Or a question. With NCAA going to the playoff for football next year, does that kind of take away the glamour of getting to a BCS Bowl for this year? Because if you're a Big Ten team and you don't get to the Rose Bowl, I think the Rose Bowl is the exception. If you make it to the Rose Bowl, that's a big deal.
Right.
But if you're getting an at-large bid to the Sugar Bowl like Michigan did 2 years ago, is that really that much better than going to, besides the money part, obviously, but as far as an accomplishment, I think that it's kind of, just for this year, it's drained a little bit because of what's coming next year.
No, I wouldn't. I would much rather go to a BCS game than the Outback Bowl or the Capital One Bowl, which is where we're probably headed. But I don't think it discounts it. I think next year is a whole new ball game. It's like saying winning the West Coast, or did it. I'm having microphone problems. Well,
is that what they're calling them these days?
Yeah, the NHL changed their conferences. It didn't take away from that.
Yeah.
So,
but this is a dramatic change. You're going from bowls to a playoff.
But the NCAA football fans and everybody's been calling for this forever.
Yeah,
so I'm excited.
It has been.
I don't think it takes away from it.
Okay. You guys have any input on that, Milton J?
I mean, I don't. I agree with DMAC there. I think next year's next year, and what you accomplish this year is what you accomplish this year. At the end of the day, and when it comes to next year, I mean, you're going to be doing the same thing you're doing this year, trying to make it all the way and win the national championship. So I think I'm kind of like deflated right now after hearing you guys talk about that Michigan State game. I really have nothing to say right now.
You sound deflated, man.
I mean, I am, man. I have so much like rage that I want to talk about, you know.
Well,
And,
I got on my rant. Hopefully what I'm going to say is going to uplift you a little bit.
I hope so, but that's the reason I've been sitting back quiet right now because I've been on the verge of tears for a week, man. I was so defeated being in Ann Arbor on Saturday. I couldn't even bring myself to go to work, you know, and I had to, and I just had my head down, and there's State fans all in there, and I'm like, what are you even doing here in Ann Arbor? Why aren't you in East Lansing? And now you're just laughing in my face, you know. Give me your money, please. Thank you.
Is this the man cave or?
I'm just saying, man.
Well, this is like
that's all I gotta say about it.
Did you last week's show, Mitch? This was like I was in a therapy session.
Yeah,
you Wolverines need to man up.
See, I wasn't expecting anything, so I'm good right now. You know,
I always expect something.
I've moved past it.
Even if I have, you know, the feeling that we're gonna lose, I can't say that.
Any given
can't.
Sunday,
Right. I just can't say that. You know, obviously I knew what we were up against, and I know how we've been performing. But yeah, all right, maybe I need a little therapy, D-Mac. Anytime
you just need to sack up, homie.
I do.
I'm moving on to the next week here. We're going forward.
We got a bye week.
I owe D-Mac in our bet from before the show. I owe him a day of wearing whatever Michigan State gear he wants to give me. Plus, I have to walk up Main Street singing Michigan State's anthem.
Oh, wow.
And you better get a printout of that because I don't know the words. I know the first line.
I'll get you a printout and a megaphone. You're good, man.
All right. The megaphone I could do without.
All I got to say is when Sparty plays Ohio State, go right through for OSU.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Do not sing that song down
so
here.
You're a real U of M fan,
Wow.
right? You're gonna root for Ohio State over Michigan State.
I'm hoping that everybody on both teams tears their ACL and that there's no game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a way for both teams to lose?
Easy there. Wait, so hold on. So you're about to play Ohio State the last game. You don't think your hate toward them is gonna be more fierce than it is against us?
No, I think it will be.
Or you're just super pissed because you know your season's like completely over.
Well, we can't win a Big Ten championship this year, so it's. I mean, that game's always huge.
Well, if you guys lose Ohio State and then one more game other than that, that's 4 losses. I mean, that's gonna be rough for Hoke to overcome the next year.
Well, he'll be good.
You think that your backup quarterback's gonna start?
No. No.
What happened? I stopped watching. I was celebrating. Why did Gardner get pulled? Was he hurt?
He was
or
just getting beat
just
up.
Being bad?
And no, he was beat up, and he just took him out of the game. Coach's decision.
He was roughed up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
He looked like he was wearing the wrong jersey.
And Devin, man, I'm sorry they couldn't protect you better, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing: is you guys ended it with negative 40 rushing yards. It
was negative 48.
48.
Yeah.
And then it only credited us 7 sacks. It should have been like 11 sacks and like -1 rushing yard. We should have had much more sacks and less negative rushing yards. I don't know how that happened like that.
That one sequence where we had the pick and returned it back to your 35 yard line. We had a chance to seize the momentum and bring it back to a 1 possession game, and boom, 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 3 sacks on 3 plays.
Word.
Unbelievable. All the clutch plays we just blew. Well, not clutch plays, but clutch times we just blew. I mean, having the ball that one time on the 50-yard line in the first half, and the snap goes over Devin Gardner's head.
That was great.
The next play, Lawan gets that ridiculous personal foul call for another 15 yards backwards.
When did you get that pick? I got a little nervous there because we didn't have that lead yet, and you guys had that pick. I was like, here we go.
I think that was in the third quarter. You guys were up by 2 scores. It was right after you hit that field goal to go up. I think it was 9 or 10 points.
That I was nervous then, and then after that, after we got the ball back, I was like, all right.
Yeah, I mean, 3 sacks later, he took all the momentum right out of us. So
I was filled with so much excitement
Yeah.
when the game started. Like what Mitch was saying, I was like, look at these guys, man. This defense is nothing. Here we go.
Yeah.
And I slowly lost it, you know?
Yeah. The first drive for us was great.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know why he
I was
went
like,
away
look at
from
these
that game
guys.
plan. I don't
Galen
know
had
what
3 or
the
4
heck he
catches,
was
to
doing,
start it.
man.
I was like, here he goes, man.
I don't
Putting up
think he
another
touched the ball the rest of
360.
the game. I had no idea what Al Borges was doing.
But, you know,
A lot of people are calling for his head, too.
you got this one. That's all it means.
So I'm going to...
But you're not going to win a Big Ten championship. I don't see it happening. So I'll bet you that shot in the beer on that.
Wow.
Ooh, double or nothing?
Oh.
Double or nothing.
Yeah, why not? It's just 2 shots, 2 beers. Can you handle that? Are you gonna?
Oh, yeah.
Are you gonna get all emotional and talk about how Michigan lost to Ohio State and Michigan State this year? After
No.
you drink
Hey, man. There's no crying going on. I'm just telling you how I feel.
This D-Mac's little violin he's playing
Smallest
for us right
violin
here.
in the world playing right now.
All right, I got to get this rain off my chest. I'm going to
Next
Let it
topic,
out.
please.
Hold on.
like Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura when he spills the facts about that case. He takes that
Takes a huge
deep breath.
Well, it's like
Classic.
it's like it's like last week. It's like the last 10 minutes of Mitch's man cave turned into Mitch's therapy session.
But this one's going to be positive. This is positive.
okay.
I need to inform the Michigan fans that all is not lost. The question
Preach.
the
See, I should have
question
just not talked.
The
I
question
told
for Michigan is obviously where do they go from here? Because they'll likely end up with 9 wins heading into their bowl game. But the season is lost. Like we've said, they can't win a Big Ten championship this year unless something crazy happens and Michigan State decides to lose
Let's go crazy.
3 games that they're favored in and Michigan somehow manages to beat Ohio State. But with that being said, a lot of fans are starting to call for Brady Hoke's head, which I think is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree with them. Not you.
He's a little more than halfway through his 3rd season as head coach, and to Wolverine fans, Bo Schembechler is like a godlike figure, and he said himself, you can't judge a coach until his 4th or 5th year. Obviously, times are a little bit different than when he made that, but I think you definitely got to wait until after the 4th year, maybe not 5th, but 4th. Is Hoke an elite coach? Absolutely not. I don't think so. Not yet, at least. Is he a tremendous X's and O's coach? Absolutely not. But what he is, and this is much like D'Antonio, is he's an incredible program leader. And what he does even better is he recruits. The guy knows how to recruit. But what he needs to become, what Hoke needs to become, since he's not the X's and O's guy, is a great hire of assistants. And I think that defensive coordinator Greg Madison is fine. He's got the pedigree, and he's done it on the college and pro level. He's fine. Offensive coordinator Al Borges leaves a lot to be desired. And I know I'm not alone in that opinion. But the other thing that causes me not to be concerned, and I mentioned this earlier, is the money that Michigan has in the program. According to Forbes, they're the 2nd richest football program in the country. So long term, if you've got stacks of bills, you're going to be all right. And our athletic director, Dave Brandon, is a savvy businessman. He was the CEO of Domino's Pizza, and he'll give Hoke whatever financial support that he needs. And the other thing that you have to consider, and I know fans don't want to hear this because it seems like it's wait till next year, wait till next year, wait till next year. But when you're taking over a disastrous program like Hoke did, when the donors, the alum, the former players had all left the program because they did not like Rich Rod, Hoke brought them back, and three of the 5 classes that make up this team are from the Rich Rod era. And they compromised the upperclassmen on this team. Those are your senior leaders. Rich Rod's last full class was 26 guys in 2010. That's Devin Gardner's class. Of those 26, only 9 of them are still on the team. And I would be willing to bet that not all 9 of them contribute on a regular basis. If you take it a step further, and for comparison's sake, you compare the class rankings of those 3 with MSU's, they're pretty close. And then you take into account that only about half the players that made up those 3 classes are still on the team, and they're recruited for an entirely different scheme. You have the current mess that is the Michigan Wolverines football team. Of Michigan's 85 scholarship players, I did a lot of research on this because I'm sick of hearing these people call for his head after 2.5 years. Of 85 scholarship players on the roster, 57 are redshirt sophomores or younger. So what is that, DMAC? Roughly 70% of the roster? You're the math guy.
Yeah, it's about there, yeah.
So you've got 70% of the team are redshirt sophomores or younger. And as it relates to the game against Michigan State, with that offensive line being just torn apart, 10 of the 14 scholarship offensive linemen are redshirt or true freshmen. So there is hope, because since 2012, which was Hoke's first full class, the 2011 class was split because Rich Rod got fired, or Brady Hoke got hired 10 weeks before the signing day. So they kind of split that 2011 class. So 2012 is his first full class. So since then, Michigan has landed 8 offensive linemen in ESPN's top 300 players list. And if you go to the entire roster, there's even more promise because they've landed 28 top 300 players since 2012 and 39 4-stars. And you compare that to the Rich Rod era from 2009 to 2011, they signed 8 top 300 players in that time. 8. In 3 years, Hoke's landed 28 in 2 years. And then for those of you, I've heard people saying, well, they should have gone harder after Jim Harbaugh. He was the answer. Should have thrown more money at him and not hired Hoke. One, Harbaugh was never coming here. If you look at what was said, his wife wasn't leaving Northern California. He interviewed for the Miami Dolphins job, and I don't know if he showed interest in Michigan. Michigan definitely showed interest in him, but she nixed it. She said, I'm not leaving Northern California. So he went from Stanford to San Francisco. And 2, Harbaugh was 8-5 in his 3rd season at Stanford, and then the season after he went 11-1 and won the Orange Bowl in his 4th season. So it's just way too early to be calling for Brady Hoke's head because you've got to let his players with his mentality develop in the system and become the senior leaders. I mean, when you got senior leaders like Taylor Lewan, I think Lewan is that you got to put him in the same boat as Jadeveon Clowney. They both came back but had dollar signs in their head, and neither one of them are given the effort that is needed. I think he came back just to kind of glorify his own legacy for Michigan as being a captain and all that stuff. And I think he's just kind of going through the motions, and he's just not a good leader. He's a great offensive tackle, obviously, but he takes cheap shots, and he's the guy that the young offensive linemen are looking up to. And I just don't think that he's that role model that you want your players emulating. So I think after next year, if the outlook isn't any better, then you've definitely got to make a move because that would be 4 full seasons. But for people to be calling for his head right now, it's just ridiculous. Stick by your guy and have some faith, and that's my rant.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. There's hope for Hoke, is what I gotta say. I don't think he should be going anywhere, and I'm with you 100% because it's way too early to be getting. Why would you get rid of him? Where would we go? I want to hear what these people want to see instead. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, Harbaugh's not coming here.
Right.
Les Miles isn't going to come
not
here.
Coming. No. So
and what do you want him to do? Go outside the program, hire another not Michigan man kind of guy like Rich Rod? Then you're going to put yourself back into the same position you were 5 years ago. It's just have some patience. It takes time.
Well, and now he's got the guys that he brought in. So why would you not?
Well, the guys that he brought in are only freshmen and sophomores.
So why would you get rid of him when he's finally got his class?
You can't.
That he's been working for.
And it goes back to what DMAC was saying with these the arrogance and expectations that Michigan's fan base has. It's great to have such a passionate fan base, but it's also a burden because there's a lot of impatience. I mean, people expect these immediate results. And for anybody who knows football, knows that you can't come into a broken program like that and expect that quick of a turnaround. Especially and you lose a leader like Denard Robinson. As bad of a quarterback throwing as he was a great leader and ambassador for the program. The guys really looked up to him.
And not to mention the percentage of yards and points, that he had for the team.
Right. So,
but also, leadership matters.
So stick by your team. If you're a true fan, stick by your team.
Don't give up, Michigan.
Yeah. So college basketball starting, though, this week. I'm going to the Michigan game on Friday. It's the season opener. They're playing UMass Lowell. It's their first year in Division I. But that's why I was asking you, Jason, if you were going to be at the Jug working.
Yeah, I know.
For those of you that don't know, Jason is you're not managing anymore, just the bar?
No, I decided to leave and quit that managing position, and then here I am back serving. They won't let me manage or bartend anymore.
So I think I'll go up there a little early, have a few beers. They're raising the Final Four banner, so I want to make sure I get there early because I want to see that. And then I'll probably get out of there by halftime because I'm assuming it's going to be a 20 or 30-point game by that point.
See, that's what I love about this Michigan basketball. We got another chance to take out state, So I'm happy.
I think it's going to be a split again.
And there's D-Mac grabbing the mic. He hears State, and he's ready to talk again.
D-Mac just sits there. He just goes about his business.
Oh,
He's reading
State?
stuff. Oh, Michigan versus Michigan State.
Well, hey, man, I'm outnumbered down here. I got to show them some love. But
It's all right.
what's it, the last 4 years? It's been a split?
I think 3 years.
Yeah.
Last 3 years has been a split because 4 years ago we won both.
Okay.
We won 2-0, and then we went 1-1, 1-1.
Yeah,
1-1.
no, it's. I mean, I enjoy when Michigan's good. It's much more fun. It's better for the Big Ten.
It is.
I'm a Michigan State guy, but I'm all about the Big Ten. It hurts to see Michigan being bad as they are at football because I know when it comes down to bowl game time, I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
I definitely don't hate them like I did when I was at Michigan State.
Yeah.
They're my squad now. They're a tier 2 team for me, but. For the basketball, the reason I pick up the mic is honestly if there's a year where we can collect both wins, this is it. I mean, we're bringing back a stacked squad right now.
Definitely have the senior leadership
Pretty
on your
excited
side.
about it.
Yeah, Michigan. Someone wrote, I think it was Jeff Goodman of CBS. He's CBS's, I believe he's their NBA draft scout, and he released an article, and the title of it was something like, if you want to watch all the lottery players, all you need to do is watch Michigan, Michigan State, and like Duke or something. And he said that's all you need to know, right? Or Kentucky, that's all you need to know. So it's pretty exciting. I mean, at one point, Michigan, not the Wolverines, the state of Michigan was the hotbed for college basketball. Michigan and Indiana, the Detroit Public School League was great. The west side of the state in the Grand Rapids area was great. It's kind of gone down a little bit because the population is starting to move down south a little bit with the economic changes and stuff like that. But it's good to see that both schools are where they should be. And at the same time, D-Mac and I discussed this last week for a little bit. I quoted Tom Izzo from an ESPN article, and he was talking about how the rivalry in basketball between the two has never really been where it is now, because when he took over, Michigan State was in the dumpster and Michigan was that big time program, and then it flipped. Michigan State became the marquee program in the state and Michigan became a dumpster. But now they're right there, and so that rivalry is going to challenge the very well known rivalries in college basketball, and it's exciting. I don't have the same hatred towards Michigan State's basketball team that I do football. And I know we touched on this also last episode, D-Mac and I, but I think it's maybe because of the nature of the game and also because Michigan was bad for most of my comprehensive fanhood until the last 4 years. I mean, obviously like the early 90s and late 80s. I was at the national championship win in 1989, but I was 1.5 years old, so I had no recollection of it. But
yeah.
No, I love Michigan for the sole purpose of pick another state where there are two teams competing at a high level as our guys. You got Florida State, but
Duke, North Carolina.
Sure.
I think that's it though.
But football, basketball.
Oh yeah.
Even like hockey.
Yeah.
Soccer.
First year Big Ten hockey.
Everything is super competitive and everything.
Yeah.
It's great.
Have you guys watched any of the hockey games?
I haven't seen any of them yet.
Michigan's ranked top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Michigan State's I think in last place though. I'm not saying that
in the
as
country?
a joke. No, in the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, I mean, we had who'd we lose to? Actually went to the Frozen Four. We lost to Western.
I was about to say,
overtime.
Western was really
still
good
nice?
last year. Well, they're not in the Big Ten, so I don't know because the CCHA is no longer. So I don't really know what they've been up to, but they were really good last year. So I'm assuming that they're good.
I think
this year.
Western lost to the Huskies though in the Frozen Four at the end.
Northern Michigan? Is that Northern Michigan?
No, it's Michigan Tech.
Oh, Michigan Tech.
Yeah.
It was one of those schools out there. Well, that's cool. Did you guys see that Drake's album debuted at #1 in the top 200 Billboard? Nothing was the
you
same.
told me today.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Great album. If you don't have it, go get it right now.
And before you grab it, you should go hang out in Ferndale and
Oh yeah.
what you got for us. So
Yeah,
you got some
yeah.
breaking news,
Some
right?
breaking news.
Breaking news. Okay.
Dun dun dun.
The elections went on yesterday for mayors and all that jazz, and the people of Ferndale have spoken, and they have voted to decriminalize marijuana in Ferndale for anyone that is 21 years of age or older. So
Fully, or is it just small amounts?
I mean, if you have less than an ounce.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you're carrying around more than an ounce, you're just bad news. But if you got like a little doobie in your pocket,
And
you're,
for our listeners who don't know what an ounce is, it's 28 grams, and 28 grams of marijuana will fill up your jean pocket to a large degree. So
Both
yeah,
It's like one of those Ziploc bags.
I mean that's
The
a good
larger
amount
Ziploc
of that's a
bags.
good amount of ganja.
it's enough for a lifetime.
But the thing about that, the scary thing is, like, when you're in Ferndale and then you go to Royal Oak or you go to Oak Park, when you're crossing those lines, and that's even when you cross when you cross state lines, then you're in federal, and then you're really screwed. But like, you're interstate. But I mean, for the people who are going to be using that and be stupid about it, crossing those city lines is a scary thing for people who don't understand how the law is really going to work.
Right.
And it has to be on private property.
Private property, yep.
You can't just be rolling around in like a restaurant.
Right, but you got to get it to your house somehow. I think, transportation.
Yeah.
You can have an open container of alcohol as long as it's in your trunk. So I think it's going to be same
Right, something
operating.
similar to that.
Yeah, but you can't be like, running through the streets of Ferndale, token up.
Well, here's the other thing. You can carry a weapon, out. You can have an open carry. So what if you see a guy smoking a spliff, holding a open, just having a gun on his side, and
I'm staying away from that guy.
Technically, that's legal. I don't think they've written that into legislation yet because this law just got passed. But it's gonna be some interesting times in Ferndale. It's already a very interesting place.
That
If you've been
is
out there
a
at
crazy
night.
place.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's where Detroit meets suburbia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hipsters.
Go over 8 Mile.
Just about everybody hangs out in Ferndale.
Yeah, you can get all sorts of people down there. If you ever want to go people watch,
Yeah, it's a nice melting pot.
that's a good place to go.
It's a weak version of Ann Arbor. I'll give you that. Ann Arbor's a great little
Yeah.
city to hang out in. Ferndale's
It
kind of
is.
a mini Ann Arbor.
Uh-huh. That's true.
Oh, man, I wish we had this clip. I don't think you guys noticed, but in this heated discussion you guys had, you talked about basketball, and D-Mac said, yeah, man, I love Michigan.
Oh, he was talking about the state.
I know, but if we could just clip
I know,
that,
we should- I was thinking
put
the
that
same
in the
thing.
intro and just have
We should get that going.
repeat.
Well,
I
yeah,
love
but
Michigan.
you could clip "I love Michigan State" and make it sound like Michigan. Get
That's
out of
true.
here.
Yeah.
Get
That's
out of here.
true.
What are you, a politician?
I-
Just snipping what you want and using it.
That's
I'm
some
just a
paparazzi
trickster,
stuff
yeah.
right there.
U of M.
Tabloids right
you U of
there.
M guy. I can't trust you guys, man.
Front
You
page.
Wolverine fans will do anything.
Hey,
to
hey,
hurt
hey,
a
hey!
Spartan.
Don't start lumping people in, all right? I was a little depressed, but I'm not gonna do anything rash.
Oh,
So don't worry about it.
what are we in again?
Hey, D-Mac, it's a
No,
former-
it's all over. All right, I'll say congratulations, like a man. Congrats,
Dude, it's not all over. You're going to be hearing about this for the next year or until Michigan wins again, which
Well,
who knows when that's
I
going to
mean,
be.
I was talking about my sulking, and now we got to look forward to this
Oh.
bet. Which is really hard for me to make this bet because I don't want either team to win, but.
Oh, yeah, because that means you got to root for Ohio State now.
I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm just rooting for Michigan State to lose.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It most certainly does.
So what happens though if Michigan State beats Ohio State? Are you gonna give D'Antonio some cred?
Yeah.
Would we go to the Rose Bowl then?
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
And then if you win that, there's your credit.
Yeah.
Right there.
No,
I mean, going sure.
No, winning
but winning
an outright Big Ten
Well,
championship,
when
you
we
get.
when we play
but
Oregon, if Oregon didn't make the national title game, we play them. And
Do you think your defense could stop them?
Oregon, I'm not touching on that. I'll talk about Ohio State because that's Big Ten, but that's 4 games away. You want me just relax.
I was just
just relax.
I was just asking, and just wondering.
I'm putting my mic down.
Hey, what do you guys
man.
think about this Richie Incognito situation?
I don't know. I heard Jonathan Martin checked into a hospital and stuff.
Yeah, man,
For
for
emotional
mental
distress.
issues?
Yeah.
All right, D-Mac, you're a former almost all-state football player in high school.
Wait, what?
And so you know what it's like to be in a football locker room. You've read about or heard about what's going on with the Miami Dolphins.
No idea what you're talking about.
You have not heard about this?
No. I've been working in Tampa Bay for 2 days, man.
Oh, I didn't know you were out
Shaking
of
hands.
town.
Yeah.
Man, so Richie Incognito left a voicemail for their rookie offensive tackle, Jonathan Martin, on their team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
With like racist
Yeah,
remarks,
racist.
saying he's gonna slap his
Right, and
mother
he
and
quit
stuff
or
like
whatever.
that. And then Jonathan Martin quit.
Because
and
he
then,
got bullied.
Yeah, because he got bullied.
Yeah, no, it's weak, dude.
Isn't it kind of like just
Yeah.
grow the heck
That's
up?
like, well, first of all, it was the Dolphins. I thought it was the university.
No,
No,
Dolphins.
Dolphins.
Wow. Yeah, so dude's making $500,000, 1. 2, He's a grown ass man.
6'6", 320
Sure,
pounds of
so-
grown ass man.
And I mean, big guys can be emotional too. That's fine.
Yeah.
But go tell a coach. You don't want to be a tattletale, but
That's
tell,
the other angle that they were talking
Well,
about.
go tell a captain. Go
Right.
tell another player. I mean, these guys are grown adults. Could you imagine someone going to Tannehill's young, but like someone going to Drew Brees and be I mean, Brees wouldn't let that happen. So Miami's Miami. That city itself brings the worst out in you. But I mean, it's just scary that it came to that. You never know.
True.
Those are those crazy people that go shoot up an airport.
And Incognito's had a history of not having a filter, and the N-word was used in the message.
Yeah.
But what I found surprising, and Milt, I want you to touch on this as the resident black man on the show, a lot of the African-American football players were actually siding with Incognito, saying like the N-word does get used in the locker room because you're just like, you're a band of brothers, and it's kind of just like a hey dude kind of thing.
Right.
Well, who were the two lions who were saying that they used?
It was
Del-
Tony
Delmas
Scheffler and
yeah.
Louis Delmas. So, do you have any opinion on that?
I do. LaDainian Tomlinson kind of summed it up yesterday when he was asked about it. He said that it happens in every NFL locker room, but it's just specifically for the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team, they'll do anything to win, so they let things slide. But once it leaves the locker room and turns into a different situation, then it's not as good. Like, they have video on TMZ of Incognito in a bar, wasted, running around with a pool cue, screaming, "Mike Pouncey is my N-word," with the ER, and just screaming over and over. And that tape is actually what helped get him dismissed from the team as well. But
what's surprising is that Pouncey was one of the main figures to come to
his side,
Incognito's
he was
aid.
standing there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting situation. I don't think that Incognito obviously was right in what he said. I think he was absolutely wrong.
Right.
But I also don't think that Jonathan Martin handled it the way a grown man should handle
No,
it.
because wasn't that voicemail back in April or May? I don't think that voicemail was recent. I feel like this bullying's been going on for a while.
It's rookie hazing. That's it's like rookie bullying.
Isn't he in his second year?
Is he?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Martin's been around.
Oh yeah. You know what? I think you're right. I think he is in his second year, and the basis of it was that Martin was still acting like a softie.
Yeah.
And so someone in the coaching staff or in the locker room said, Incognito, since he's the leader of the offensive line, go,
toughen this boy up.
Get him into shape. And I mean, obviously he crossed the line a little bit, but
it seems real touchy, and it seems it's a sensitive topic, and you really can't look at someone and be like, you can't feel sad, or whatever. But I think you should. There's a way to go about it. There's protocol in the locker room that some of us don't know about.
Right.
Like with an NFL organization. But Joe Philbin was saying he hadn't heard anything
even know
about
about
it.
it, yeah.
And the voicemail didn't even come out until a few days after Jonathan Martin left. And the topics of bullying, and I really can't speak to it much because I've never been in that situation or anything like that. But I think Incognito's going to play somewhere else.
I do
if the
too.
Dolphins don't take him.
I do too.
Somebody's going to take him because at the end of the day, it's about his NFL ability.
yeah, I mean,
And he's good. Why you want him on your
he
team?
was a Pro Bowler last
Right.
year.
Somebody's going to take him.
At first, I didn't think he was going to be on another team or get picked up by another team. But after hearing these guys today, now I definitely think he's going to. It sounds like no one's even mad at him, really. They think he went over the line, but they're not like, screw this guy, get him out of the league.
It's not like Riley Cooper's situation.
Right.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
And even there, Riley Cooper's still playing.
He's balling.
He's put up
too.
three
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Yeah.
If you don't think he was getting hated on in the locker
Right.
room, you're dead wrong.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
as a man, you need to be able to overcome those obstacles. Especially that's your professional career. He's always going to be the guy that quit his team or walked away, regardless of who was bullying him. It's a 53-man roster. It's not a 4-man
Right.
roster.
Who-
Even if it was more than one guy.
Who has a better chance of playing in the NFL again, Incognito or Jonathan Martin?
I think Martin does because he's younger, but
So
I don't know,
Are guys going
as
to
a-
respect him in the locker room?
no, if I was his teammate and he's on my team, knowing that this happened, how are you going to go to battle with a guy who could just walk out on you, at any time if his feelings get hurt?
Right.
It's
real.
This is football.
It's real convoluted.
There's no feelings in football.
The whole thing's complicated, and I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're trying. Like, what's the end of it?
Right.
You know, he's at home. Do the Dolphins even want him back? When he walks into that locker room, is he going to be welcomed in the locker room? You know, you're bringing all this attention to him. I don't know. It's messed up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's just my 2 cents.
2 cents.
2. Oh yeah, Milt.
Boy. You guys doing anything cool this week or weekend? Any plans?
I'll be in Ann Arbor working at the Brown Jug, and there's a little drop that name there if you guys want to come see me up there.
Yeah, I wish you were going to be there Friday. I definitely would.
No, I got to work my other job Friday, so on the
we're-
grind all the time.
My brother's getting married in June, so we're doing his fiance's from Chicago, so we're going to Chicago to do the engagement party.
Cool.
Yeah, it should be good.
That's exciting.
Chicago's great.
Tis.
Milt, you got anything for us?
Go to Peace, man.
No
for
shenanigans
pizza.
planned for the weekend. I might go to Chicago as well, a little road trip, just to shake things up, have some fun.
There you go.
Nice.
But I definitely will be parked somewhere on Sunday to watch the Detroit Football Lions.
There you go. Hey, I get off
their bye.
I get off work
Playing
at
Chicago.
1 o'clock now on Sunday, so if you want to roll over,
Brooklyn.
we can have some fun.
Man, if I'm coming back from Ann Arbor, I might have to swing by. I'm going to invite myself to that soiree.
Go ahead.
Wait,
Go
so
ahead.
D-Mac, if you're going out of town this weekend, when am I going to do this bet? When am I going to...
I'm serious.
Where
You're
the
gonna
gear?
do it before the Ohio State game.
Oh, you want me to wait that long?
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
absolutely.
Whatever.
That'll give you time to learn those lyrics. I
Oh,
hope you
yeah.
forget them
Oh, it
No
kind of
quick.
sucks, though, because now it's going to be in my head.
I'm gonna
Man.
get some
4
killer
weeks
steak
from now.
gear over that time. I'm gonna acquire some new steak gear for you too.
Oh.
Maybe I'll let you keep one if you're nice.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
When I lived in East Lansing, I don't think I've ever told you this, D-Mac. When I lived in East Lansing that year before I moved up, Papa Weiss, who was a huge Michigan guy, he went to Michigan, and he bought me, and he knows I'm a huge Michigan fan, he bought me a long-sleeve Michigan State shirt for, going away present or something, and I was just like, what is this? Like, why are you buying this for me? I'm never going to wear this.
Wanted you to fit in.
Yeah, I guess.
Your grandpa, I think, holds 2 things dear to him, and that's
My
his-
safety.
Well, not yet. Well, safety. So I think Michigan would be number 2 to ladies.
Yeah.
And so he wanted you.
That's
He
true.
knew you had to be a chameleon in East Lansing to go ahead and get your Mitch Weiss on.
That's a good angle.
That's a great way
I have
of putting
never
it.
even thought of that.
Be a chameleon.
There you go.
Me and your grandpa on the same level on
Yeah.
many. I still have your grandpa gave me a pen that said DMAC 2005 on it.
That's
when
awesome.
when I graduated high school, and I still have it today. And I'm signing some big checks with it today. So
You can say what's up to him. He listens to the show.
absolutely. Well, what's up, Papa Weiss? Appreciate you. Love you. Hope all is well. See you soon. Go State. I mean,
I ditto that first part, not the final word. But all right. If no one has anything else, we'll wrap this one up. Thanks for listening to this episode of
Oh, wait.
Mitch's Man Cave. Oh,
Hold up.
oh.
No, I'm just playing. You guys tune in next week, though. Go ahead, Mitch.
All
Take
right.
it away.
Well, I guess thanks for listening to this episode of Mitch's Man Cave. And unless Milt wants to interrupt me again, you may now exit the Man Cave.